This week it is a brand new car from Kia, the very, very latest Kia Niro. And on the road, this Niro is so much better than the previous one in every way that it's possible to be better. Mainly because Kia's tuning man, Graham Gamble, had a lot of time to spend in this, making it perfect. The EV has made the playing field level because it's got so much power deep, deep down. So let's get a few facts out about the new 2023 Kia Niro. It comes as a hybrid and pure EV in an S and in the GT line. The hybrid S is $44,380, the GT line $50,030, the EVS is $65,300, GT line $72,100. There's a few other facts as well. The output for the hybrid is 104 kilowatts, while the EV is a little more generous at 150 kilowatts. The range for the EV is 460. Here's a couple of other interesting facts too. The batteries. The battery for the hybrid weighs around 43 kilos and sits under the back seat. But the massive 64.8 kilowatt battery for the EV weighs 443 kilos and takes up the entire back floor under the boot. That means the EV doesn't have a spare. You just make do with one of those awful repair kits, something we really loathe. However, the hybrid has a space saver spare. It's also worth noting the hybrid has just 4 litres per 100 kilometres and a 6-speed DCT. So you'll get about 1,000 kilometres out of the 40 litre tank, which we think isn't too bad. All Kias have a 7-year warranty, and of course in this case that includes the battery and the electric motor. But there's also 7 years worth of roadside assist and 7 years worth of telematics. Now we'll get into that in a minute. The steering is nice and neutral, and you can use the pedals to set the amount of regenerative braking. So you can go right down. Now I've got I-pedal on, which is one pedal, and that's braking all by itself. Eh? You like? Acceleration is brisk without being nasty. You're not going to snap your head. Of course, it's got all Kia's safety gear. That's standard now. And you need that to get 5 stars. Kia did tell us that they are anticipating that this will be tested at Euro NCAP facilities, and then they'll homologate that across the Australian market as well. The screens are nice and easy to read. Now remember, it is just this top GT line model that has these screens. The other ones do with smaller screens. No, I don't think it works as well. And because this is the GT line, as well as these screens, I've also got a heads-up display, so I can clearly see about the end of the bonnet what my speed is, what my cruise control set at, the lane control, and also what the speed limit is. Very important if you don't want to lose your license. All of the controls are nice and easy to get at. So I'm going to set cruise control. That's now set. Press the steering wheel button, and now the lane control set. Actually, I'll take lane control off because on bendy, twisty roads, it's just not advisable in any car, doesn't matter what it is, to have the lane centering switched on. This is such a beautiful area. Oh, I'll just put my foot on the brake, so of course it's cut out. This is such a beautiful area, and you wouldn't think that this little battery-powered SUV would be so much fun. But it is so smooth, and it handles like a sports car. That's the fact that I went over a line. And you can hear on this relatively smooth tarmac how quiet this is as well. Kia put a lot of effort into making the cabin very quiet. The windscreen is specially sound deadened. The carpet is specially sound deadened. And there's extra sound quietening elsewhere in the shell. And of course the range in this is a little bit more than there was in the previous model. And as all EV owners know, you're going to want to charge your car sooner or later, so pull up to a charging point, whether it's out or at home. Hurrah, it's in the front bumper, so open the port, plug in, and off you go. But remember, even on the fastest charger, it's going to take about 3/4 of an hour to go from 10% to 80%. So you can go and do a bit of shopping and what have you, but you can leave it plugged in at home overnight. Be aware, if you do leave it plugged into a standard socket at home, it's going to take about 27 hours, so that's quite some wait. Kia has some other advantages as well, of course. There is the 7-year warranty, but there's also 7 years worth of telematics, as I've already mentioned. With telematics, you can connect your car via a cell signal. It can do really nifty things like monitor the status of the car, tell you where the car is, but also other things like if you are charging, for example, out and it's a very hot day, you can turn the air conditioning on so that the car's nice and cool when you come back to it. It operates through a built-in SIM, which currently has 7 years worth of access through Kia. It's the Optus network, so it works just like your normal mobile phone. After that, there'll be some kind of subscription, which Kia will work out in due course. It's the same with other brands. And I think that that's the most common question people ask is, how far can I go in my EV? How long does it take to charge? And what other things I can do with it? Well, this of course has vehicle to load. Yeah. So like the EV6 and Hyundai's Ioniq 5, you can plug stuff into this should you be out and about. On this top model, it also works on the outside, whereas inside there's just a couple of sockets in the back. And on these 17-inch wheels, the ride is still incredibly smooth. Now that bit of road was pretty dreadful, and yet this is as smooth as silk. And of course it would be remiss of us not to mention the flat floor in the rear seat, and the seats themselves covered with nature-friendly fabric. No leather to be seen here, it's all artificial. There's vents for climate control, as well as some USB for the rear seat passengers in the front seats themselves. In the front, it's beautifully laid out. And as all new Kias have, it's the beautiful digital screens. There's cleverness everywhere. I particularly like the dual function audio and climate control screen. The center console, again, quality materials, and what looks complex at first is actually quite simple. There's just on-off switches, gear dials, the seat heating and cooling, park sensors, cameras, steering wheel heating, auto hold, and electronic brake. There's also a 12-volt charger, a conventional USB, plus a USB-C, and just in case your phone needs it, a Qi charger. As with all Kia models, only the cars that don't have navigation have wireless Apple CarPlay. Everybody else has to plug a wire in. The sound is sensational. These Harman Kardon speakers really are beautiful. I particularly like the light splay at night. I love a good theme lighting, and this has a colour for almost every single season. There's plenty of space in the boot, and the boot itself is electric. Hurrah! It's got a kick to open function too. And this clever rear parcel shelf is actually a sunshade, so you can take that off and put it on the rear window as a sunshade. We drove Niro in town and in the country, and no matter where we put it, it did beautifully. In short, we really like this car. They've really done a great job. I think the only thing that I've really got slight reservations about is this is a $72,000 plus change car, plus on roads. For that, you can get one of the base model EV6s. So my question is, would you do that? Some people prefer this car, some people prefer the EV6. As far as preference goes, I'll leave that up to you. And that's it. That's all this week from Kia's Niro. I think it's a great car, handles beautifully, smooth and lovely ride. I do worry about the $72,000 price, but you know, hey ho, such is life. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.